Hi everyone, it's Annie, and today I'm here to do the ANTI TBR tag. So I've seen this tag going around, it's pretty popular, and it seemed like it would be really fun to do because I have a lot of opinions about books. So without further ado, here we go. Question number 1. What is a book that everyone else seems to love that I just have no interest in reading? And I think that has to be Memoirs of a Geisha. I thought a long time about this, but I finally found this one, and it has over 1 million reviews on Goodreads, so I think it's pretty popular. I've just never had any interest in reading this, ever. Something about it just totally dissuades me from reading it. And while I was looking for this question, I read some reviews of it on Goodreads, and I saw that there is some controversy surrounding it and surrounding the author, and you know what? I think I'm just gonna stay away from this book. Whoever likes it, I'm glad, but I will not be reading this one. Also, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I remember when it came out and I read the synopsis and I just cringed. I just can't handle it. I don't want to say this, but it sounds like something a 12-year-old would write. I don't know. I couldn't deal with it. I do not have any interest whatsoever in reading this. I just can't stomach Fangirl. Question number 2. What is a classic book or author that I have no interest in reading? This was pretty easy. A classic book would be Lolita. I think that it is just disgusting. I know that people who like the book say that you're not supposed to empathize with the main character, who is a child predator, but unfortunately many people take that as the message of the book, and no matter what the intended message, I just am not comfortable reading about that subject, so I will be staying away from that one. And as far as a classic author goes, that would have to be Ayn Rand. I guess she's considered a classic author. Maybe not, but her books are taught in high school. At least in my school, we read Anthem when we were in 9th grade. I just really dislike her and her politics. Yeah, she is very capitalist, very libertarian. Just not what I vibe with, not the subject for me. So I'm gonna stay away from all her books. Thank you very much. Question number 3. Who is an author that I have no interest in reading? I picked 2 for this. The first one is John Green. To be fair, I did try and read one of his books, Will Grayson, and I DNF'd it. I really hated it. I just have no interest in reading any of his books, especially The Fault in Our Stars. It just sounds depressing, and it's a romance, which is not what I like at all. And yeah, none of his books appeal to me in any way. And the second one might be a bit surprising considering I love sci-fi, and that is Brandon Sanderson. I don't have anything against him at all. He seems cool, I don't know. I know nothing about him. But I just have never had any calling to read any of his books. I mean, he's super popular. My sister has read some of his books. I always saw his books in the bookstores, and everyone reads him on BookTube pretty much, so yeah, I have no reason not to want to read his books, but they're not for me. I don't like high fantasy, except Lord of the Rings, so maybe that's part of the reason. I know he has a famous sci-fi series, but I'm also just not into reading that. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't like long series. I don't like committing to that. I don't know. So yeah. Question number 4. Who is an author I've read a couple of books from and have decided their books are not for me? This may also be surprising, but it is Becky Albertalli. I read Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda and What If It's Us? And I don't like her writing style at all. I mean, I really just don't. I don't know if it's because I read these books. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're YA, but I wasn't that old when I read them. I was like 20. I don't know. But I just don't like her writing style. It's very, like, almost cringy. Like, in Simon, I hated Leah. She was so cringy. I am never reading the second book of that about Leah. No. The movie Love, Simon was way better, and I almost never say that about books and their movies, so that's my feeling about that. Question number 5, a genre that I have no interest in. Easy, romance. Now, there are some disclaimers here. I like romance as a plot element. It's not that I actively seek it out, but if it is in a story that's like, oh, it's a sci-fi story, and there's also like a little bit of it is a romance between these characters, like, okay, that's fine. I don't care about that. You're not going to lose points for that from me unless it's done badly. But just a straight romance, all about romance book is usually something that I steer clear from. It's just not interesting to me. Question number 6. What is a book that I have bought but will probably never read? Now, I usually don't buy books that I haven't read and that I don't already know that I love because I don't like wasting money. But I have thrifted some books in the past that I've since unhauled, but one of them that I remember is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And I know this book is extremely popular. Again, I have nothing against it. It's just so long. It is so long and intimidating, and I had thrifted it, and it was a hardcover. It was beautiful, but just looking at it, I knew I was never going to read it. I mean, never say never. Maybe I'll get to it in the future because it is appealing to read because everyone loves it and it's supposed to be such a great book, but it's just so long, and I have other books that I wanted to read first, so I unhauled that one. Question number 7, a series that I have no interest in reading or a series that I have started but DNF'd. This is a good one. I have a lot to tell you. Series that I have no interest in are the Mortal Instruments series and Twilight. I mean, I just don't want to read them. I don't like vampires. I mean, not as a concept, but just vampire books. I generally don't enjoy them. I don't know why. It's not like I've read a lot about them, but just every book that I read that has a vampire character, I just really dislike. I don't know. I just don't like it. And it's romance, and it's just not appealing to me at all. The Mortal Instruments series, I think I bought the first book from a garage sale, and it was just because it was a popular YA series, but I think I have passed the age where I would have enjoyed this, so I have no interest in reading this anymore. 2 series that I started and have DNF'd are the Divergent series. I didn't even get through the first book. I hated it. It was one of the worst things I've ever read. Yeah, I'm not even gonna qualify that statement. I just hated it. If you enjoyed it, more power to you, but it was not enjoyable for me. And the second series is the Hunger Games series. I actually did read the whole first book, and I enjoyed it fine, but it's just not my cup of tea. I don't think I like that kind of dystopian, like YA dystopian, like, oh, there's a chosen one and there's also a love triangle. Again, I don't like romance. I mean, Katniss is a really cool character. I like Katniss. I watched the movies. How many of the movies have I seen? I've watched a couple of the movies, but I just have no interest in continuing the series. Again, I think I'm past the age where I would have really enjoyed them. Since I have no nostalgia factor for them, I'll just let it go. Another series is Aragon. I hated it. I tried to read the first book, I don't know how many times, but it was just one of the worst things I had read to date. Like, it was just awful. I am convinced that if the author wasn't 17 when he wrote it, no one at all would care about it. It is so mediocre. And I felt really bad at the time because my friends all liked it and I didn't. And I mean, I wish I did because it's popular and it's about dragons. I think dragons are cool, but I just could not finish that first book. Oh, and there's one more series that I don't want to read ever, and that is the Game of Thrones series. I can't. They are too long. Again, I don't really like high fantasy that isn't Lord of the Rings because, and I know some people will disagree with me on this, but I really feel like if it's not Lord of the Rings, it's a wannabe Lord of the Rings. I just don't like them. I'm sorry. And I never watched the Game of Thrones TV series. I just never got into it. My sister did, she loved it, but yeah, I have no interest whatsoever, especially they're so long, there's so many of them, and the last book hasn't even come out. We don't even know if he is gonna release it, so I'll just stay away from Game of Thrones. And the last question, what is a new release that I have no interest in reading? Now, I am filming this on December 6th, so that's around the time that I'll be talking about. One of them is In a Holidays, which I believe was released this October. Again, it's a romance, and I don't think I've ever read a holiday-specific book, like a Christmassy book. I don't see the appeal. I don't know. It sounds like a Hallmark movie in a book, and I don't like Hallmark movies, so I will skip this one. And the other one is Ready Player 2. I read Ready Player 1. It was fine. I don't really like video games, and I didn't grow up in the 80s, so I think some of its appeal was lost on me personally, but it was good in general. It was fine, but it does not need a sequel at all. So I won't be picking this one up. Alright guys, and that is it for my ANTI TBR tag. If you have any opinions about what I've shared with you today, please let me know down in the comments down below. And if you liked this video and want to see more from me, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time!